Again, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing some good moments with watches. There's many watches tonight, not only Jeager, there's great watches all around the place, so thank you. It's great to be amongst watch lovers tonight. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. I don't have one. I want to spend a couple talk to you about the project that we unveiled yesterday. Some of us are very passionate about it. Many of you have read about it on blogs, and it's a chance for you to, for me to explain to you what we've gone through and why this watch is out today. When you think about Jaeger LeCoultre and our history, yes, we have about 413 patents to our name in 181 years. We have produced over 1,200 calibers. But that innovation has really been at the service of performance, in particular chronometric performance. This watch is the successor of the exploration watches of the 19th century and the 20th century, when those that were discovering new ground needed reliability and performance in chronometry. It is also the forebear of all that we've done in the last 10-15 years to improve chronometric performance. I think about the duomètre, the system of the duomètre. I think about the gyro tourbillon that essentially made the idea of the tourbillon work for wristwatches. I think of many other advances that we've brought, and Yves will talk later on about that very thing. The géophysique is very much emblematic of that idea. It was created in 1958 to celebrate the 125th anniversary of the manufacture and to pay tribute to the International Geophysical Year. It was a year of exploration. 67 countries came together to push the envelope in terms of exploration, whether at sea, on land, or in the air. This is the moment where, for example, the theory of the plate tectonics took shape, and many other advances. The manufacturer, in developing that watch, resolved an apparent contradiction. Can there be a classic watch that's a tool watch? Many of us, some of us have worked for brands that made tool watches. This one is a very subtle one. And yet, it's a little bit like if you think about the N-Class, the AMGs, and so on and so forth. What is the difference between regular production and those cars? To the naked eye, nothing. And yet, it's everything. This watch is all about pure performance. And in terms of design, it's also an expression of purity. And I thought that this is very much emblematic of the brand. So to pay tribute to that watch is complex because it's a three-hand watch, as somebody told me once at the manufacturer. It's very subtle. And so it's taken us a long time to make it work, to make it perfect. We think we're pretty close. The watch was in 35 millimeter. It had fantastic mechanical movement, a movement that the manufacturer took from a watch that, military watches that were developed between 48 and 53, that some of you know, the Mark 11. And we added a few things that made it even more performant. Swan's neck regulator, stop second, a Breguet hairspring, a Breguet curve. And in doing so, it improved the performance and made it one of the very best mechanical grade movements of its time. Today we're bringing it with an automatic movement because at the time automatic was not quite what it is today in terms of reliability in particular. We've put one of the best movement that we have, and again we're going to push the performance. The watch will be regulated at -1 plus 4 seconds. It's going to come in 38.5 millimeter, which is a perfect proportion because the movement is very thin. It's a 3.3 millimeter movement. And in terms of executions, there are 3. One is in steel at 9800. It's a limited edition of 800 pieces. There is a rose gold version at 300 pieces, and for those 2 versions, we've chosen one of the 2 dials, which we call the crosshair. And then the third one is a platinum piece at 58 pieces. What makes this watch in terms of design is, yes, the purity, as I spoke about it, but it's also that there are a few little details, one of which makes the watch a collector's item. There are 12 luminous dots at the hours. Those dots in the historical watch were in between the inner bezel and the crystal, but they were actually on the crystal, and those crystals were not scratch resistant. Therefore, oftentimes those crystals were changed and the watch was lost. So it's very, very difficult to find a mint historical piece. I talked to the head of Christie's last week, and he tells me it's almost impossible to find them. And they resell at about $30,000. In the new version, we have kept that little detail, and it's going to be on the inner bezel. And so we'll rotate the pieces. They're prototypes. You have to be careful, but just look at them. It's a very sweet little detail. So I hope you'll enjoy them as much as we have to develop that watch. Thank you.
Thank you.